Hey, so I just got back from seeing Chaos Walking, and it was not as bad as I thought it was gonna be. It was, in fact, pretty enjoyable. I was expecting it to be very unfinished and just an overall kind of a mess, and I was trying to go in with really low expectations despite the excellent cast and the unique premise. But after finishing the movie, I was trying to figure out what all the fuss was about because I was really worried about how many times the movie had been delayed and how the movie just had seemed to be on a downward trajectory of being stuck in its sort of development hell that it had been for years and years trying to get this thing made. And usually those films turn out bad or at the very worst mediocre. So in order to enjoy those films, I have to go in with low expectations. But this more than succeeded that. It was very much what I got from the trailers. So it's like if you enjoy the trailers, you'll enjoy the movies. It's not any worse than that, like I was led to believe. Uh, the cast is very charismatic. The world building is very subtle, surprisingly. You can infer so much about the characters in the world, not only through the dialogue and the characters and their actions and everything, but also just because of like, okay, I might need to restart a little bit. The way that people are indicates like so much about what has happened before the movie has even began that they don't even need to go about into detail certain things because you already understand it as an audience member without them even ever going into detail about it, which is props because you don't need to. It doesn't have as much exposition in it as you would expect because they do a lot of the exposition through having characters talk amongst themselves the way that they do because things are very different than they are on Earth in this very sci-fi future. Because the movie's like a weird sci-fi western adventure movie, kind of like what I was expecting. Again, it was all very much like what I expected, only better. Thankfully, it was very funny. The cast was fun, and the cinematography was very well done. Uh, yeah, my only couple of gripes was that the biggest one was the villain had a stupid death because they before talked about how he had mastered the thing that meant that he couldn't be killed, but then the thing that he so called mastered, he failed at doing at the end and it caused him to die. So what was that all about? That's kind of stupid that he would become suddenly weakened by this plot armor of you need to die now, despite his mastery being one of his main key character things is that he's strong in a lot of areas, not only in combat but also in. I'm trying to think of how to. I'm one trying not to spoil it, and two trying to explain as best as I can the situation so that the people that have seen it know what I'm talking about, and that's difficult. So I'm sorry if I keep tripping up. Uh, he has this very strong sense of like power over mastering this skill. So to suddenly not have that skill anymore at the very end, not only that, but to be so terrible at it that gets him killed, it just doesn't really make much sense. Anyways, the trailers lied about the plot, by the way, but I won't say how. Uh, the reshoots were a little obvious towards the end of the movie. I'm guessing because audiences didn't really like that. I also would have preferred it to be a little bit more Mads Mikkelsen focused, but that's more of a nitpick. I guess I'd really just prefer more of a Mads Mikkelsen centered like Western movie where he's like a cowboy or something. That would be kind of fun. At least that's what this movie proves to me because he's more than capable of doing that. because like he's a really cool actor, and I think that this movie shows that he could really pull that off well. Like that would be a very fun movie to do. Uh, but yeah, he's good in this, and everyone else is good in it too. Tom Holland is kind of hit or miss for me. I wasn't a big fan of his Spider-Man, but he was really good in The Devil All the Time. Uh, he is good in this, surprisingly. I love the visual way that they show the voices of the, what did they call it, the noise. I love that visual representation. It's almost like how they put it into words in the book. Me having not read the book, and I'm sure that there's one of those movies where the fans of the book probably don't like the movie because it's better in the book, but I haven't read the book, so I can't say. This just feels like a very unique concept and a very fun world to explore for the movie medium that I've never seen anything like. So that's a big thumbs up for me. I love seeing new things in the film medium, so that's an automatic recommend for me, especially when it's filled with such a charismatic cast and like such a great world that's fun to explore like this is, which I think I've said a couple times now. And yeah, a lot of people said the plot felt unfocused, and I really have to disagree with that. It's just very much an adventure movie plot. So like it's going from point A to point B, and there's just like stops along the way. In that sense, it kind of reminds me of Last of Us because it's like a guy and a girl going on that journey, and it's only about as messy as you would call that. And I'm talking about the first Last of Us, not the second one. No spoilers, please. I have not played the second one. Uh, and I know that people are very mixed on that one, but I'm not reviewing that right now. Uh, what else? The movie feels like it's kind of doing like a mixture of After Earth and Love and Monsters, only it's way better than After Earth, obviously. And I don't know if it's as good as Love and Monsters. I guess that depends on the individual. But it's definitely close, way closer than you would think. Uh, for pandemic era entertainment, it's definitely more than good enough. I would definitely watch sequels of this. It's more than entertaining enough. I think I'd give it like an 8, 8.25 out of 10. It was just that the ending irked me a little bit. And like, I can always use more Mads Mikkelsen since he's like my favorite cast member in the movie. But yeah, everyone did a good job in this though. Uh, it was very serviceable. So yeah, I'm trying to think like if I went to spoilers, like if I should go into spoilers, and then what I would say. There are moments I would comment on, but I think it's better if I don't go into spoilers, so I'll just leave it there. Yeah, I recommend it. Why didn't it press stop? I pressed stop, I swear.